Hey guys, welcome to the Game Club Podcast, a podcast dedicated to talking about video games. This week I am joined by a+start.
Hi.
And Beta64.
Hello.
And this week we
had to do weird voices.
Yeah, we've kind of
we have to. And this week we're going to be talking about Shadow the Hedgehog, a side series game. Edgy. From the Sonic the Hedgehog series.
I'm so excited.
He grazed my face with his spines. He's so edgy.
Does someone want to explain what the game is? Or
I'll go.
Yeah, do it.
Shadow the Hedgehog is a spin-off of the Sonic the Hedgehog series featuring the titular character, Shadow. He is a black and red hedgehog who was created by Eggman at some point, and he has his own game, which is primarily a platformer shoot 'em up kind of thing. I don't know. How would you even class this game? It kind of covers a lot of genres, really.
a Ratchet and Clank
shooter up.
It's a Ratchet and Clanker.
It's like a fast Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
It's also.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah,
we'll definitely get to that
later.
So
Honestly,
what did you guys think of the
have-
game?
You have no idea what I'm going to say, by the way. Nothing.
We don't.
You don't know, because my opinion, I can guarantee, is going to be real original. You ready?
He's gonna love it.
I wrote down notes. I'd mind if I start? I'm just so excited.
Can I?
Yeah, no.
I just want to take one
it.
guess before you start. You loved it, but you also hated it.
Gosh dang it! Why do you know me so well?
Straight down the middle.
Okay.
All right, go ahead,
But
man, go ahead.
No, but it's not like that. It's different. Basically, I love this game.
That feels weird just to hear it.
No,
Yeah.
no, and I'll tell you why. I love this game because the concept is so freaking cool for a Sonic series kind of game. I know it's supposed to be real edgy. It's not really that edgy. It's really not. It's trying to be it, but it gives me a paper cut at most. But the game.
I mean, those things kind of they're a pain sometimes. You know.
They are, which is
got a
why
bit
it
of bite
stuck
to
with me. It stuck with me.
It's got one
Look
of
at
those
that little
sharpest
paper
edges.
cuts.
Yeah.
How would you describe
good
Shadow the
analogies.
Hedgehog, Andrew? I describe it as a paper cut.
Ooh, even that
So
sounded
tell us
edgy.
more about this
Oh.
paper cut.
Okay, so basically, I guess I should start this off by saying I researched the development of this game because I was very confused on why it also sucked. I was very confused on how the gameplay, the animations, the voice acting, the camera, the platforming all sucked. I was very confused on why. So I did some reading up on it. Okay, so basically, I don't know why. But I came up with this interesting article where it says that originally, this game was actually going to have edge. There was originally, like, they had this original footage that I watched. This game was a lot more edgy than it is now. It's not my number, but it had, like, there was blood everywhere. There was the language. All the teenagers would have been all upon this game. All of them. And the gameplay was supposedly more refined, or at least planned to be more refined. I'm wondering, do you guys just think they didn't have enough time? Because
Well, I think it's a masterpiece, first of all.
Oh god.
oh yeah,
Way to
yeah.
just jump to conclusions and say that I didn't like the game. I thought it was amazing. First of all, everything you click on the menu has a gunshot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was.
I didn't like
immediately.
that.
You
Yeah.
didn't like that?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry,
It's
I'm
like
a
this.
human.
It's like you have a memory card in your system. It's like you select it like press start. Enter the options.
I just love it. I just imagine like every person playing this game having a pair of sunglasses on. It's just like, start the game, you're dead. Change the volume settings, you're dead. All right. Good stuff. Also,
They were very.
I
gun
just
heavy.
I love the variety of gameplay in the game too. You know, there's like how many guns are in this game? It's insane. You know,
Yeah.
Like every 2 seconds,
I
you're
will
picking up a
agree.
new gun. And you can also pick up a stick and use that as a melee weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. It's like the
was
world's largest stick.
Now-
it's very strange.
Now, as good as this game is, there are some complaints I have. One is, why does the stick have ammo? You know? I get like a stock of
Yeah.
5.
Did it?
Well, it's called it breaks. That's the word I was looking for.
Huh.
You ever
Look,
think about
I'm
that?
not
Maybe
playing
if you
Breath
hit
of the
someone over
Wild
the
here.
head with a freaking tiny stick, maybe it's gonna break in half.
No, but I mean, it's got everything.
makes sense.
It's like, it's got a companion character like Clank. It's got rails to grind on like Ratchet and Clank. It's got guns like Ratchet and Clank. It's got a deep cinematic story like Ratchet and Clank.
Ooh, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, no, because
That's
neither
a
of them
stretch.
do.
That is a stretch.
Oh my gosh, dude, the story was so disappointing. If this game had actually like taken the time to come up with a story besides being, who am I? What am I?
It's like
Where
Shadow's here in the
am I?
podcast.
What is this? Maybe
Maria.
he has, yeah, and Maria. I feel like if they had like a really good story to it besides him walking around and going, who am I? And then at the end he goes, I am this. It's like, what? Is this cool?
So the whole thing is just like, I knew who I am the whole time.
I
was just
found
this.
out I am with friends. That's what I kind of felt like.
Just bring up a scene where Shadows is listening to Michael Jackson's "Man in the Mirror." He's just like, I know who I am now. I'm just me. I've always been me.
Oh gosh, yep. Okay, Andy, what's your opinion?
not my
Give me your
Well, okay, so straight off the bat, I was like, okay, it's just a Sonic game. Like the very first stage, you open with this just ridiculous drop from like nowhere. It's like, why are we falling? Why is it taking so long to hit the ground?
Did you watch the intro cutscene?
Yeah, of course, you can't avoid it. The
Yeah,
intro
but-
where he's like,
But why
I can't
would
remember
you?
anything. All I can remember is my name and this gruesome image. It's like, wow, you can remember quite a lot. I will say one thing: that is a good theme song.
Freaking, it was great. The intro was
It's
the
a-
best part of the game.
Can I just sidetrack for just 2 seconds?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
This theme song, compare it to. Have you guys heard the new Sonic Forces?
Yes.
What the hell is that compared
I
to
don't
this,
know,
this
and I
Shadow
don't
theme?
want it.
It's awful, and
Please.
I'm gonna leave it there. But it's like this theme song is really good. It's
Is it
actually like
is it made by Crush 40, the new one?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
not the
okay.
new one.
Yeah.
the whoever every
No.
single one that was.
There's no
involved
way
in
the
all
new
other
one's made by Crush 40.
Yeah. Well, the new
oh,
one is
yeah,
by. Who's the vocal dude?
Wait,
in
why
this
would?
one?
Okay. Okay. Oh, I'm sidetracking hard right now. Like,
That's
because I was
fine.
gonna. There was like a lingering question in my mind, but we're gonna stay on topic here because I'm sure people came here for Shadow, not.
Yeah. Anyway, so new themes are terrible, but this theme in Shadow the Hedgehog is actually really good. So
Stank.
yes,
Who the
that's
crap
who
is
it is. Yeah.
Hoobastank?
You never heard of Hoobastank?
No.
Well, they stanky.
Stanks in the name.
Okay.
They some stank.
We can
They're
continue.
Hooba. They some stank. They were big in like I don't know 2004. They had a song on the Spider-Man soundtrack. I don't know. So they're going back a while.
But
It's
yeah,
just like
the theme.
we are
in-
again. We're still sidetracking.
yeah,
Sonic
eyeball.
Unleashed had that guy from Bowling for Soup. So this is their rhetoric, I guess. They kind of get involved in these punky bands and bring them on board to do these theme songs. Anyway, new theme songs. The Shadow the Hedgehog theme song is good. So it's open strong. Yeah, it's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Musically, it's okay. Musically, it just sounds like every other Sonic game, to be honest.
Yeah, but it's cool. No,
maybe
it's
less. That was good.
Yeah,
that was it.
I can do
That was
really
not
good
Sonic.
instrument sounds.
That was really good. I felt like they were here playing. I don't know about you.
I got Crush 40 in my room, actually. I didn't tell you.
Damn. But yeah, so they open in this first stage, and it's kind of like it kind of feels like a Sonic game. It's got all those Sonic-y elements, but it's not a Sonic game. So immediately that was like, okay, so what am I doing here? I didn't know limited things about this, having never played this. I'm gonna say I'd never played this game before. Just heard a lot of trash talk about it. So I knew there was this branching path system for the story, but I didn't know, on what degree that took. So I'm just going around murdering everything,
Yeah.
like people and the aliens. I'm just murdering everything, and
they're
I'm
all
thinking,
like,
well,
"Stop!"
this is. Yeah, I kind of like that. The story is unfolding as you play, which is unusual like, this is gonna sound dumb. It's unusual because mostly in games you play through a level and the story happens after the level. Like nothing happens during it really, story-wise. But this kind of has this, like, you're getting feedback from Doom Eye, whatever the hell that is.
I don't know. But
Dr. Claw, essentially, from Inspector
Yeah,
Gadget.
but with an
Hey, it's
and he's
Gadget.
Use the Z stick.
He's like, hold
That's a
on,
good
hold on. He's like,
Use the Z stick to move your camera, Shadow.
That's actually so
Damn.
close. That's
Yeah.
so close, and it's so bad.
but what if I don't want to?
Please
What
listen
if I
to me.
don't want to?
yeah, that was another thing too. No, I'm sorry. We'll talk about story later. But remind me, there's something I want to talk about with the story. Anyways, gameplay, right? We're on gameplay. No, we're talking about
Yeah.
side characters.
No, we're
guess.
talking about. I don't know what we're talking about.
Oh, a bit of both.
The thing is, with the side characters, it felt like a fever dream. That was the one thing about it's just like I don't think Shadow really interacts very much with Sonic or Knuckles, at least up to this point in the lore. Like he was kind of like on the bad side of things, and then he teamed up with Sonic at the end of Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah.
But it just still
Yeah.
felt awkward for him to be like side by side with Sonic, and
Like
also.
buddy.
Yeah, and also there was just one character in particular that I hope they never bring back, and it was this.
You're gonna say Charmy, aren't you?
Is that the bee?
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
terrible.
Okay, let
Yeah,
me
he's
say
always
this.
noble.
The bee was really, really weird, but I actually liked him as a character, and I don't know
No.
why. But you know what I couldn't stand? The freaking crocodile.
Oh, Vector.
Vector.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand that guy. He's "Rah, I can do this. Bah!"
That,
Well, you know what?
it sounds like you're talking about Charmy.
Yeah, well, the funniest thing about the side characters, I was late in the game in this week. You know, usually we're given a week to play these games, and I decided to live stream it. And during the live stream, there's that level with Charmy, and I just realized that Shadow doesn't actually interact with any of the characters that are in
Yeah.
the stage. So he doesn't interact with Sonic, and it just really cracked me up because Charmy B's like, we gotta go looking for the obviously a lot higher pitch. I'm not even gonna do it, but he's like,
I
we gotta
will.
go looking for the secret discs. I don't even know what that is. What is a secret disc? And Shadow doesn't say anything. And I just
Like,
thought,
"Can you
wow,
shut the
Shadow's a
fuck
bit of an A-type personality right
oh,
there.
absolutely.
But
The
they got that
freaking
right.
bee was just like, he's like, we gotta look for the optical discs, and it's just like, but then like, throughout the,
you're so cool.
oh yeah, he says that a lot. And it's just like, wow, way to cement that with the lamest character of all time. You know, I feel like I have
Yeah.
LeFou from Beauty and the Beast on my side. No one fights like Shadow. No. No, but what's weird too is just like they're more. Oftentimes they're morbid too, because like I recall, I might be wrong, because hardcore fans might correct me, but like I feel like at one point I'm killing aliens and the little bee guy's just like, yeah, get rid of them all, and I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Little bee guy, you a dick.
Oh man.
Charmy's edgier than Shadow.
Yeah.
Can I say this though? With the
Go.
stage with Knuckles, did you notice anything off about Knuckles? Like how his entire voice is different from every other Knuckles voice I've ever heard in my life?
Yeah, this is because was the first game to be done with the 4Kids cast.
I watched 4Kids. That's not 4Kids. There's no way. Either that or I have a terrible memory.
It could be that.
Yeah, it's actually probably that. His voice was just awful. Just
Yeah.
straight.
This
I
is the
always-
thing. There's
I got
never
through
been
that stupid
consistency
thing.
with the voices.
Right.
They change the
No.
voices, every 3 games. I'm surprised the current Sonic voice has been the longest running, I think. So
I'm
yeah.
not a huge fan of
I'm not
any of the
surprised there.
voices anymore.
I'm,
Do you know what? This is the thing. I just want to, while we're on this topic, this is the kind of thing. I wish they'd just banish all voice acting in Sonic.
yeah.
I just get rid of it.
Can they do that?
Well,
I don't think they could pull a Legend of Zelda as well.
I don't know.
I feel
I
like
mean,
they
Breath
need,
of the Wild brought voice acting in, so I think the reverse can be done. I think like look at Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania is coming out. Okay, I
Yeah,
know
but
that's a
that's
classic
different.
game, but there's
There's
not
no
going to be any voice acting in that, and nobody's
Yeah.
going to be like nobody's going to miss it. And I honestly don't think that if they took it out of the 3D games, people would care because they're not saying anything of any importance anyway.
yeah.
And that's what this game was all about. It's like the people are just saying things, but they're not I still didn't really get what I was supposed to be doing Do you know what I mean? Story-wise, I just felt like, what is the point of all this? And we even summed it up by at the end of the game. It's like, oh, I know who I am. I'm Shadow. Well, brilliant. Cool. Can we not just wrap that up in a 30-second cutscene?
I kind of agree with you to an extent. I think they could do voice acting if they made the stories a little more inclusive. I do always feel like the Sonic stories kind of pander down to kids and not so much of a family variety. I think that's why Nintendo games work so well, is because they don't feel like, some people would disagree, but I feel like they don't feel like kid games. They feel like they're just for the entire family, like they can be appreciated by everyone. But like when you listen to a story in a Sonic game, they're oftentimes like very juvenile. It's like,
yes,
you know, it's like, Sonic, we need to go fight Eggman. Oh, Eggman's just a big old pig butt. You know, it's just like, oh, this is so lame. You know, but you know, but that's not to say that I would take out voice acting altogether. I think it can be done if two things were done. One is if the story was written a little more seriously, but two, also, I've never agreed with the voice casting for these characters. Like, Sonic might be okay, but maybe like the mannerisms in which they want this person to speak the role doesn't work in my mind. But what's worse are Tails and Knuckles. Now, we were talking about Knuckles a second ago. I've never felt that they've ever gotten the right voice actor for Knuckles, and that they've ever written him to be as cool as he once was back on Sonic 3, you know? He seemed a lot cooler in like the old Sega Master System games. Or no, not Master System.
When he didn't say anything.
Yeah,
Mega Drive? Sorry, Mega Drive.
What are we talking? Knuckles?
Mega Drive, yeah.
Yeah, but like, you know,
Mega Drive.
he conveyed a lot of stuff like through, you know, story interaction, you know? Like laughing, like hitting Sonic and stuff like that. His actions spoke louder than his words, but then in future games, just like, hello, Sonic. Hi, how are you doing? And I'm like, this is so, what are you doing?
Hello. Are you here for the 7 o'clock appointment?
Do you like my Knuckles? I don't chuckle.
It's just like, I feel like the writers are just like, you know what? We made Knuckles too cool, and we have this Shadow guy, and we don't want him to take the spotlight away from Sonic, so let's just make him have a very relaxing voice. And I'm like, no, that's not what Knuckles used to be.
Dude, I want to add a little point to when you were saying that the story's juvenile kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
That is why I was hoping this game would be better story-wise. You know what I mean? I was hoping, and I don't know why I had hope, but I did. I was hoping that they would take it like a step further, do something like, you know, more edgy.
And
no,
did they?
No, they did the edgy juvenile story.
Yeah,
and
this is the thing. The stories never serve like a purpose. That's half my problem with these Sonic stories, is that there's no stakes. You know, it's different with a game, I get it, because you can't tell a game story necessarily in a kind of filmic way. Like, a lot of film stories will have like the character, you know this is the main character, and you have to set goals for him, but in order to set goals from him, you have to take things away from him. Like, the Sonic characters never have anything really taken away from them. They, you know, it's just like, oh, Eggman's doing some bad stuff, we gotta stop him. That's it. And that's why the stories always fall flat for me, because there's no stakes. It's like, well, you know...
Well, what about the friends and the loved ones?
Well, who cares? Like, there just seems to be like, oh, great, there's a new Sonic game. Like, even now they're still doing this. They're introducing new characters. Even Sonic Forces is going to have, like, build your own characters. So now there's a million new characters.
No, I'm not getting into that.
Yeah, but this is my point. Like, I don't care. Most of the time, I like the character designs, but I don't really care about these characters. Like, I couldn't give a crap if Tails gets murdered or Knuckles goes on a coke binge or something. I don't give a crap.
Wow.
But this is the thing. Like, I think they could have. I understand where you're coming from. Like, you were hoping they'd do an edgier, darker, maybe more meaningful story, and that was one of the things I did appreciate about this game, was the fact that they seemed like they were going to take it in different directions, and I think that's what this game was supposed to be, which is why it still felt
the branching story path too. That was an ingenious thing for a Sonic game, because I don't think is there any other Sonic game that even does that? Sonic
Adventure 2 lets you have hero or dark stories,
but so still, it always ends the same way. This one, it ends differently. There's it's a ton of different endings, hundreds of possibilities. if I wanted to do that, that is. But like they spend a lot of time getting the story to all link up, and it's very good idea. But where's the story? There's no substance to it. Like when I started doing it, I started like doing whatever the crap I wanted because I was Shadow, and then halfway through I was like, you know, I'm gonna start following the heroes just because, and I did. I didn't notice a difference.
Yeah.
I didn't look like I went from I'm gonna do whatever I want to do to all of a sudden being like, okay, I'm gonna listen to you guys now. It was literally just Shadow the whole time going, who am I? The whole time.
Yeah.
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear. But this is the thing. What story paths did you guys take? Because I got to be honest,
You killed everyone,
I just did the
didn't you?
neutral path because I got to the final boss of the neutral path and I was just like, I couldn't beat the final boss for some dumb reason. I was trying to do it on stream and it just wasn't working. I couldn't beat the guy, and I was just with that. I was like, I'm not even going to bother exploring the other stories. So there's a good chunk of the story that I missed. I will acknowledge that, but there was just no incentive for me to actually go back and change anything that I was doing in the levels to kind of branch off to this other hero or darker path. I don't know. I've lost my train of thought now, but that's it. I'm curious which path you guys took.
I only did like four stages, I think. So, and it was on the neutral path. Yeah, not too much different from what you experienced, Andy. And yeah, I mean, I didn't even get as close as you did, so you probably have a better idea of the story than I do.
I beat the game.
But
like the final boss
beat the
was
game.
actually super fun.
Really?
Yeah. Which final boss
didn't
did you
share that.
fight? Did you fight
The one.
Who'd you fight?
It was the one where you have to hit the 3 buttons. It's like a roulette, a casino kind of, and then it attacks itself.
No, I fought the actual bad guy. The
Oh, okay.
guy. And actually,
I didn't get that far. No.
yeah, it was actually kind of fun because I was literally standing there, spinballing the guy. That's a weird one. Spinballing the guy, and then he was like no damage, and then I walk around like, oh, here's a submachine gun. I jump in his face and start belting off bullets into his skull.
Wow.
And I was like, oh
different.
man, this is actually the last level actually gave me hope for this game being good, and then it was over.
Yeah.
But
Oh, damn.
I feel like we've been destroying this game so far. Anyone got any pros?
Oh, I got some positives. There are some genuine bits that I was like, wow, this is fun. Namely, when I got hold of a new weapon and it was just destroying enemies. That was cool. Did you guys see the little tank thing that you sit in? It's got like legs and it's kind of
Yeah, and I love
Yeah.
that.
No,
I
I
thought
didn't
that was-
see that one.
I was just like, this should be the whole game. Shadow should just be this. Because it can jump really high, and that was the only fun I had with this game.
There was
I'm gonna
like
be
some
straight
really
up.
good platforming there. Honestly,
Well,
I felt I was in good control of that.
really? You didn't think Shadow was a bit kind of slippy, slidey?
Only when he was outside of the mech. When he was inside.
Oh, you're talking. Oh, when he's inside the mech, yeah, he's great. Everything controls brilliantly. You got those high jumps, and yeah, you can do the platforming things. Yeah.
I also
Yeah,
love
would
his
agree with that.
chaos control. I thought that was really cool.
Oh, I need to talk about that. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, the hero one. Because you got two. You got the evil version, and then you got the good version of the chaos control. The evil version is like the explosion. Everyone dies. Good. I love that one. The hero one, I don't quite get. Why even bother with it? Because it basically just shoots you so far in front of the path. But when I have to collect 5 discs, why do I want to bypass an entire level?
Game's done quick, bro.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, I got it, and I was like, oh, great. I need to collect all 5 discs. Okay, so I'll just press the button, and it'll auto-collect it, right? So I fly past the entire level, and I have to backtrack.
Well, don't do that.
Well, not my
I thought
problem.
there was more to that. I was like, yeah, no, I can see the problem.
Yeah, that's actually-
it
I
was
could-
good with like where you have to make it to the end of the level kind of story thing. But when you have to collect stuff or destroy enemies, it's just not as useful.
Yeah. Huh. I didn't see any of that. You must have taken a different path than me. Well, I just took one path.
It was okay. I know you guys wouldn't have reached this path because this was the good path. My favorite level in this game is the one where you're with Maria on the ship and you have to destroy all the artificial chaos. That level, by far, is my favorite level
How come?
because of a few things. Did you guys play it?
Nope.
No. Okay.
This is news to me.
Okay, you might want to replay it after this because it changed my perspective on the game. It was basically like the music. Oh, just the music was so good. It was like a sad kind of thing because you're with Maria and she's like, we're all gonna die here, but we need to do this.
Isn't that the serious story that we've wanted though? Like the idea of imminent death and stuff like that. That's a very serious, heavy subject.
I'll tell that it was still lacking though. You'd go around and you'd see like players that are dead, and you walk around and you'd see like a room where just a bunch of soldiers are sitting in, and she'd say like, hey, I think they got in here. Let's go back and keep looking. And then the entire stage has a lot of places to explore. The level design is actually good. There's submachine gun parts where you're just shooting all these chaos things, and it felt like I actually had an environment where I felt something, like a little. There was a little creeping of sadness, just a little bit.
These are the stakes that I was talking about. Like this is what a game like this needed. You know, it's got a bit of history.
Motion.
That's one thing that I will say. Like
yeah,
story-wise,
this was like a flashback.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that they tied in with this Maria character that they introduced in Adventure 2. So I appreciate that. And you know what? Now you're telling me about these story elements that I didn't even experience, or these levels that I didn't see.
Yeah.
It's kind of making me feel like I didn't experience enough of this game to really have a well-rounded opinion. I kind of took it at face value.
The problem.
I mean, I tried my best with it, but the reason I didn't go for these other levels was because the experience that I got was just kind of so ropey that I didn't want to put myself through it. It wasn't the smoothest game to play. You know, things like enemies. There were so many different enemies, and it was just like some of them. I can't even remember what stage it was I was playing in, but I was like attacking these enemies. There were 2-hit sort of kill things, and they just explode, and all my rings go everywhere. So I'm already at a disadvantage, and I'm just kind of like I'm just dying left, right, and center. And when stages are a kind of pain to get through, I was just glad they were over, and I was just like I'm not gonna finish this until I see some end credits, whether it be good, bad, or otherwise. And I didn't even make it that far. And it's just like, but now hearing you talk about these stages that like seem like they mean something or actually have story influence or purpose, kind of makes me want to go back and see what that was all about. And,
That's what they
experience the game in a different way.
But
Yeah.
if you think about it, if you didn't experience a good story, that's not your fault for not playing more of the game. It's their fault for not having a good game design with with the branching paths. If you found a branching path without a good story, that's not your fault. It's their fault.
Yeah, because the neutral story is just sort of all over the place. In one stage, Eggman's on my side. In the next thing, he's a boss. I'm like, what? And then you defeat him, and then he's on your side again. It's just like, well, this is just the neutral story. The neutral story hasn't even got it right. So I was just kind of like a lot of inconsistencies and weirdness in the story that just kind of felt to me like, well, none of this means anything then, because I understand what they were going for, but they did it in such a weird, skewed way that I don't know.
It
I
was
had
hard
very
to
mixed
follow.
feelings about this whole game.
It was hard to follow sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So these storylines, they don't make any sense. They don't add up. Derek, give me your
Derek, what's your opinion
give
on
me
this?
2 cents.
I didn't really go through the storylines, so I don't really have an opinion on it, unfortunately. I only played like the first 4 stages, so that's about as much as I can really speak on. I know
Well,
I should have played for the entire game, but I just didn't have the time this week.
See, no, but that's a good test, you know? Did you want to play through more of the game?
No.
See? There we go. That was a good test. So I kind of want to talk about the graphics now.
Yes.
I want to hear your guys' opinion first, though, and I think Derek, you've been so quiet lately for some reason that you don't know. So why don't you let us know?
It's serviceable. It's definitely a step up from Sonic Adventure 2. So I mean, yeah, you don't think so?
What was that?
It sounds like we got a crying puppy in the podcast.
Yeah. Somebody stroked that
Sorry.
puppy.
Yeah, my puppy back there. He only cries when he hears that this game was better than Sonic Adventure 2's graphics.
I think it's better than Sonic
This game
Adventure
looks
2.
worse
period.
than a Dreamcast game, man.
No way, dude.
yeah.
I wouldn't say that.
I
would say
own
it's
a
on par.
Dreamcast.
I'd say it was on par. To be fair,
So we have
like-
one that says it's worse, one that says it's better, and one that says it's on par. This is great.
well, none of the when you look back, I mean, what was this? 2005. This game came out. Yeah, I mean, that's 2005 graphics. Everything looked like that, kind of a bit
Really?
muddy
Have you,
and
Super Mario
yeah.
Sunshine, man.
Yeah, but they're anomalies. They're made by people who cared. Let's just put it that way. I don't think they cared enough to polish the graphics. Because, look, you look at Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes was out by this point, I think.
Yeah, this was the
Yeah.
one that came out after Sonic Heroes.
Yeah, okay.
Oh.
So those 4 games all look like they're basically running off the same engine, and I'm pretty sure they're the same character models as well. Well, actually, I know that's not true.
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say I
yeah,
played
it's-
Sonic Heroes recently, and I gotta say Sonic Heroes looks a little bit better than Shadow the Hedgehog, but
Now, it's a sequel. How did they make it worse? I'm looking at the Sonic Adventure 2 on the Dreamcast. They had shadows in that game. Shadow the Hedgehog didn't have any shadows. Which is ironic.
that is, it had one big shadow. It was black and red. God, which game did you play?
but you know what? There was a lot of chaos in this game, and
Somebody should have controlled that chaos.
I feel you're right. And I think it's up to us, the players. I don't.
It's up to us,
Yeah.
the players, to
I'm
imagine
making-
good graphics.
Yeah, I'm making like a weird political answer, like it's a walk around, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Also using fandom to just kind of blind everybody to how bad the graphics are in this game.
Yeah.
No, I do think the graphics are good for its time. Obviously, it's not going to be The Last Guardian.
Oh yeah, comparatively,
No,
it's
there's
ugly
no
as sin.
way.
But, yeah.
I mean, I give credit where credit's due for the graphics at the time. You look at Super Mario Sunshine, that was above graphics at the time. It looks good even nowadays. The
Oh yeah, but I
water
never hold it to
shimmering.
that standard.
Yeah, well, what I mean, okay, SpongeBob, Battle for Bikini Bottom
There you
looks
go.
better than this game.
No.
Wow.
Have you
don't
even
agree with
seen
that. Went
footage?
there.
I will put right now, everyone on screen who's watching on YouTube, side by side. Here it is. You tell
There
me
it
in the
is.
comments which one is better.
All right, so guys watching this video right now, if you agree with me, type in hashtag Team She Says, and if you agree with Beta, type in hashtag Team Jacob.
Team Beta. Jacob.
Twilight.
no.
All right. So, anyways.
Oh,
Falls in line
oh.
with this whole shadow edgy thing. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't
like,
know. I felt they could have done better graphically, especially if you're
could've.
saying Sonic Heroes looks better than Shadow the Hedgehog. Then yeah, they've
and
kind of
that's
gone
a
backwards.
sequel.
Yeah,
Like you saw the
So-
Sonic Heroes characters in Shadow the Hedgehog.
that's correct. Yeah.
But I still think that the selling point of this game really is the gameplay, and then even that's hit and miss. But I gotta say, when you have the guns, everything feels awesome. When you get a gun, when you get jump in the mech, everything feels great. But when you're short on guns, and the only thing you have is your fist. First of all, I mean, like, you can spin
Yeah.
dash into enemies, and I guess that works okay. Obviously, the game encourages you to pick up guns instead because it's more effective. But they gave you the option to punch things, and I don't know
Yeah.
why. Because I
Yeah,
tried
it
doing that at
doesn't-
first,
it doesn't
and
work.
it
It
was
doesn't do anything.
awful. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty bad.
Well, this
Like-
is the thing. They give you the homing attack, but the levels are designed like they're in space. So the amount of times I homing attack things and just flew off the edge and I was done. It happened to me so many times. I was like, I'm afraid to attack anything. I'm gonna use the guns because that seems like I can shoot from a distance. So yeah, guns are
Yeah.
cool.
Plus, it's really satisfying just to take out a submachine gun and mow down an entire room.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty freaking
Did
satisfying.
anybody get to the there's kind of like a stage where you're in like a cannon. There's like in a cannon you control a cannon.
Oh,
and it's kind of
no.
like first person view and you kind of shoot.
I had a
the
first-person
egg pawns or
submachine
whatever.
gun, but not a cannon.
Yeah, that was fun.
That-
See, I like the attention to detail they put in on the weapons and the weapon
yeah,
variety.
There's
That's
points
cool.
in the game that you really feel like this is working,
Yeah,
but those moments are so few and far between. But it gives you hope, Like if they had spent more time polishing the game, making it better story-wise, making the graphics look better. The animations are just horrifying sometimes.
Oh god.
I'm sorry, which Sonic game are we talking about right now?
That's actually very freaking true.
Everything from Dreamcast to like GameCube, PS2 era.
That's actually
Yeah.
really true.
No, but I wanna, I wanna retract that for a second and just say that I actually, talking to people while announcing that I was playing this game, there was a lot of people that said they enjoyed it, and to be fair, I can actually see where some people are coming from. It's not a complete disaster, and I think that if you have it in the mindset to like this game, you can find things to like about it. In fact, I have. Again, I like the way it feels when you're running through a stage and you're just shooting down enemies with guns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to stop. And you can constantly use that speed boost on rows of rings and stuff. So you can really rush through stages, and it feels good.
Yeah.
So I like that. But let's be honest, some of the other Sonic games, even though I just took a jab at them, they do play a little bit better than this one.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
This is. It's definitely not the bottom of the barrel, but it's close.
Yeah, this was them leaning into that Sonic 06 time.
Yeah, this is the transition stage between good-ish and full disaster.
Yeah, this was before they took that dive, and it showed signs of kind of uncoupling, I guess, and just going off the deep end. Sonic 06 was the real go. Like, this is it. Whoa, we are going down.
We hit
but
far.
Shadow was like getting on the boat that was going down.
So I was like, I'm
That's what
seeing
I
you
feel
guys.
like.
I got my game. I'm leaving.
See ya.
Dude, you know what? It reminds me, talking about terrible parts of this game. Voice acting, we talked about that, and I wanted to mention one thing because I found it in my notes. Did you fought Eggman in Eggman's computer world, right? No. Okay. There was
Is
a
that in the neutral
computer-
storyline? Because if it's not, then
No, I think I went one into the good side. Okay.
Okay.
Well, there was this stage where you're inside Eggman's computer, hacking it.
wow.
I hate it when kids do that. But the stage looks good. It's like there's so much freaking color. It could technically blind you for life if you stare at it for too long. But it looked really good. The stage was an absolute disaster. Because basically you have to ride on the connectors between towers, and it's like this humongous maze that you literally can't get off until you get to one of the points. It was just
That sounds like a nightmare.
It's literally a nightmare stage. But that wasn't what I
that
was
doesn't
going
sound
for. I was going for the Eggman stage where literally, and I timed it, every 3 seconds, Eggman says, "You know what they say, the more the merrier." Every
in
3
reference to what? Like
seconds. I don't know.
the more bad Sonic games, the merrier. What is
I don't.
What is he referencing?
It literally happened every 3 seconds. I'm just sitting here and I attack him. And it's like, you know what they say, the more the merrier. I shoot him with the submachine gun. You know what they say, more the merrier. I freaking get. I don't.
You know what? I would prefer that over the B, because the B was far
Really?
worse.
The B at least had different lines. The entire stage, he only said, you know what they say, the more the merrier. And I still don't know what he was talking about.
Well, you know what? We're picking poisons here, and I will go with Dr. Eggman's one line over that B's variety of atrocious ones.
Incessant chattering. Yeah.
Yes.
I just love the way we already mentioned it, but I love the way that Shadow just doesn't acknowledge any of these people.
Yeah.
It's like he's in his own world.
It's kind of
Yeah,
like he's
just like I
embarrassed
should
by
be.
them. It's like,
Yeah.
Oh god,
You know,
this guy.
it's kind of like, Shadow wants his own game. He wants to be cool. He wants to be accepted by more adult gamers. But then all of a sudden, like, a Sonic character comes out of his, like, sedan and just like, Shadow, you forgot your school lunch. It's like, oh god, please.
I can just picture if this was a real situation where they were casting this and they bring Shadow in and they go, Shadow, come and sit down. So what are we here to talk about? Well, we're gonna give you your own game. Oh, that's amazing. Can
we have
hanging out with that
guns?
hedgehog and that fox and that other red guy? Yeah, there's a thing. What is it? If you're gonna have your own game, you gotta have all these guys, all the chaotic characters, all these guys. Oh, great. You just feel like, this guy is like, well, I'm gonna do it, but I'm not gonna acknowledge any of them.
Yep.
Okay,
It's
a fair
so
deal.
freaking true.
It's like, Shadow, give me a kiss on the cheek. I don't know you.
Just ignore him. He won't do anything.
That's so freaking true, though. There was like one part where he spoke. No, this is my favorite scene. Okay, and this was the stage, this cutscene that went into Eggman's computer. He literally, you see the 3 Dumble doofs trying to hack a computer, the Crocodile Man, Bee Guy, and whatever the crap the other Horn Man is. And they're
SBO.
The Rocket Rat.
Yeah, Rocket Knight. So
And
you
the
see
orange
Rocket
flask.
Knight typing on a computer, and they're like, "What, have you hacked it yet?" And he's like, "Oh, I haven't hacked it yet. I'm still working on it." And then he's like, "Oh, I can't do this." And Shadow just walks in the room, literally says nothing, walks in the room, and they're like, "Oh, Shadow, perfect timing. Can you help us hack this computer?" And he walks up to the computer, and I kid you not, doesn't even look at him. He karate chops the keyboard, and he gets into the computer.
That's
Doesn't
some
say a
Fonz level
word.
type stuff right there.
That
I'm literally
firewall
like,
just-
that's hilarious. He didn't care.
He's like,
Ah,
hey.
Shadow. Shadow.
He's like the greatest hacker of all time.
Yeah, I mean, if I could karate chop a keyboard, man,
Break into like the FBI or something.
just grab one of the terminal, break into an ATM, just karate chop it. Oh, money!
I'm rich.
If only life
I'm
were-
slightly happier now.
I'm slightly happier. If only
Now
the new
I'm
world
back down to
was.
being depressed.
Where's Maria?
So, okay, so what have we discussed? The storyline is kind of all over the place. Gameplay-wise, it has some... It's definitely not a Sonic... It has Sonic elements, but it's not a Sonic
Linear
game.
Sonic Adventure is what I put it as.
Yeah. And what else we... You know, these other little kind of strange parts of the game. I like the weapons and stuff. I guess that is what really sets it apart from being a Sonic game, is the
Yeah.
weapons. But I feel they could have done that better. So somehow, I just,
I don't know. It's, you know what bugs me? Is there the dash button is the same button as the equip weapon button, like equip a different weapon. I
Yeah, the
can't
controls
tell
are
you-
kind of weird in that sense.
I can't tell you how many times I went, because there's one stage where you literally have to switch a weapon to a new one. And it just so happens it's right on the edge. So if you don't get close enough and you press the X button, you will suicide dive into the void.
Wow. That's kind of the experience I had many a time.
It's the controls are just kind of wonky. I feel like there's so many. This is kind of like Bubsy. There's so
God.
many.
I wondered how long
Wait,
it'd
no,
be.
hear me out. It's got
I'd
so
rather
many-
not.
Come on, what could possibly go wrong?
Oh, God.
I know. I say this. Bubsy had the same kind of issue where it was like, there's so many bad parts of this game, but I still liked it. And I feel that's kind of the same way with Shadow the Hedgehog. There's so many bad parts of this game. So many things they could have done better. But honestly, I still liked it. I still enjoyed myself. I didn't finish Shadow the Hedgehog and go, crap, I wasted my time. I enjoyed it.
As always, I like to approach it from a standpoint of like, these are the things I had wrong with it. Like, if I was gonna make the game, these are the things I would want from it. I want more of that mech. That little mech that Shadow can get in with the legs. I want
Yeah.
more of that. I want I want the whole stage to be that, because I was disappointed every time they kicked me out of it. I want more of that, because I
Yeah.
felt like he had better controls. It was more fun to control. Like, I know there's other vehicles in this game, but I never saw any of those apart
I
from
saw a
this little
car
mech.
and it sucked. I got 2
Well,
feet
there you
before
go.
it died.
Okay, so forget the vehicles, but keep the mech. The mech is a good point. Make the levels less kind of, I don't know, just crazy and all over the place. Like, there's other parts of the stages that feel a bit copy and pasted, and it's like, well, what's the point of this? Like, they need to make actual worlds. This is another point. The game is too gamey, and I know that sounds dumb, but it's like, oh, there's floating platforms. I don't really want that. Not in this day and age. I want something, a cohesive world where like there's a clear path and there are hidden parts, and I don't know. I know what I mean in my head. I just want
Yeah.
I just want that
I get what
done
you
better.
mean.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I get what you mean too.
So
But,
I want more of the mech and better level design. And keep the weapons.
I'm okay with, again, like I would rather the series revert into more of a video gamey kind of thing, where it's like, don't worry about building up a world where a hedgehog is in love with a human girl and stuff like that. Like, let's just deviate
Sorry,
from
I
that.
threw up a bit in my
And-
mouth.
Yeah, and we could just go back to platforms and stuff like that. That's me. I think that we should just go in that direction. But again, that's not what this game is.
Yeah.
So
I want to
that said-
say this. I know a solution to all of this. We need an HD reimagining of this game.
Right.
Because I honestly think in your mind. Use your mind heads. What other game is like this?
Sonic Adventure 2.
But
Kinda.
besides
Ratchet and
another
Clank.
Sonic game.
Ratchet
What
and
what
Clank.
other game gives you this kind of branching story, run and gun, shooting up, fast-paced platforming gameplay?
Just this one.
Yeah,
That's the answer you want. I'm just going to give it to you. It's just this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of narrowed it down a lot because if you want to say branching paths, Heavy Rain, platforming
Well, yeah,
with
there's
guns,
a lot of branching
Ratchet and
paths. I'm
Clank.
talking. No video game is unique nowadays. It's just a mixture of
No.
a bunch of different ideas that makes it unique.
I guess.
But what I mean to say is, there's no other game like this that I can think of. Maybe someone in the comments is telling me right now. But as of now, I can't think of any other game like this. And I want to see it done well. It's kind of a Conker's Bad Fur Day situation. Conker's Bad Fur Day is one of a kind. No other game has really been able to do that. It's just,
Yeah.
if you want a Conker's Bad Fur Day like experience, you play Conker's Bad Fur Day. If you want a Shadows the Hedgehog type experience, you play Shadow the Hedgehog.
Now, there's something to think about. If they went all in with Shadow like they did with Conker,
That's kind of what I was hoping for, not on the sense of like Shadow drinking a beer and smoking a cigar every 10 seconds.
I could
Although
see
that would be edgy.
Yeah, I
That would be
like
a lot
that.
edgier. That would be a lot edgier. I'd like to see something. I was hoping it would be kind of like that, but it wasn't. That's what I want to see, though. I want to see some kind of Shadow the Hedgehog game where it's really actually is an edgy, dark story that actually has some meaning to it. And with controls and platforming, I'd like the world to be more open, not so linear, so that way I can run around. I want it to be more of a beat-em-up style game, so a lot of enemies running around that I can just gun down. I still want platforming, but I want the platforms to be not so challenging and like really small platforms. I want to be able to have bigger platforms that I can just jump around and feel like I'm doing acrobatics more than trying to stay alive.
Yeah.
I want to feel like a really cool guy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You are a
like-
really cool guy, Beta.
Yeah, you don't need to play Shadow the Hedgehog to feel cool. You don't need that.
No. But yeah, you get what I mean, right? I need a game
game-
like this.
The game just needs more polish. Like I think there is a it's a diamond in the rough. I think that's the best way
Untold
to look at
potential.
Shadow the Hedgehog. Yeah,
I'd say
there's,
it's a diamond and it's rough.
it's yeah,
I want the diamond to be rougher.
rougher, edgier.
And your diamonds. I want to cut open
Okay,
my-
so what we want is the branching story. That's a great idea, just
Yeah.
executed poorly. So they
yeah,
need to work
no
on
good
that.
story involved. What's
The
point of a branch?
gunplay kind of could be its own real element instead of just like you pick up a gun and you shoot it, because that's really what it all boils down to. You know, maybe if they were going to go if they were going to go gunplay, they should have maybe done like a cover shooter aspect. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like a fast-paced shooting game would be really cool. I don't think
Yeah.
most of the games nowadays are like you gotta hide, you gotta really conserve ammo, and that's what a lot of games are going for, the survival aspect. Not a whole lot of games are out there to make you just run and gun. Like, I don't know, I never played Duke Nukem, but I feel like it's kind of like that.
Yeah, it's very actiony, very fast, and that's the one thing I actually liked about the game. So I personally wouldn't change that. I just feel like
No, I wouldn't change it. I want them to
I would
exponentially make it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, just polished. Everything. This is the thing. Like, this is the diamond in the rough aspect. Like, there's a lot of good here that just is just a bit ropey. And if they just spent more time, like, your idea of an HD remake is maybe not such a terrible idea. Maybe there's a lot of things that they could just polish, but not do just the HD. Like, oh, hey, the graphics are better.
Yeah,
like,
no,
just
they need
exactly
to
the same.
remaster, reimagine.
Yeah, like a Crash kind of thing that we've just seen with the Insane
even
Trilogy.
more than
They
Crash,
need
because
to-
I don't want them to keep the story.
Yeah. Basically just throw everything out and start again, but with today's philosophy on what a good game should be.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I will sum up the whole thing and say that's kind of what the Sonic series is lacking at the minute. Like, I feel like graphically Sonic games are okay now. And I'm not even sure if I really mean that, because there was a point where Sonic Unleashed looked great, and Sonic Generations was 5 years after that and kind of looked like the same engine. In fact, I think it was the same engine, so they haven't really progressed in that direction. I don't know, in a direction where it's like, wow, this is really great graphics.
I think they've stepped things up over the years. Like, I really liked Sonic Generations. I liked Sonic Lost World. I like Sonic Colors. Those are all
Yeah.
great games. I'm actually pretty excited about Sonic Force right?
Forces?
Really?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I'm absolutely off the wall about it. No, I'm willing to give it a
Could
shot.
possibly go wrong.
I think.
Oh yeah, I'll
I think it
play
looks
it,
good,
but
yeah, still the series. My one gripe with the series, and I think lots of people disagree with me, so it's just one man's opinion. But I still feel like the story just needs to get canned, and there needs to be a more inclusive story. Like I feel like it's pandering to a young children audience when they speak. You know.
I'm gonna say something. Okay.
go.
I'm gonna say something. Maybe we don't. Okay, let me put it in a better way. Maybe we shouldn't be playing Sonic games anymore.
No, that's
No, just let me finish the sentence. Let me finish the sentence before I get absolutely destroyed by everyone down below in the comments. What I mean to say is, this game is obviously designed, these games at least, not the original Sonic games, but these games, they're designed for a younger audience. Sonic Boom threw that in my face really easily. This game is not designed for our age demographic. And I feel like, yes, it's okay with playing playing these games, but I don't know if we have the right to say we should change it. Like, we had a discussion, guys, the audience doesn't know this, but we had a discussion on Federation Force a while back on how we don't have the right to say that they should change it to a more specifically Federation Force. We don't have a right to say, hey, you need a dark, deep story in this game, because it wasn't designed for age demographic. And I feel the same way with the Sonic series. We don't really have a right to say, hey, this game would be better if it had a deeper story that wasn't so juvenile, when really we aren't the ones that the story is intended to be for.
right.
That's
But
just my opinion.
I disagree because if you go I'm still a Sonic fan because they started off not pandering to a younger audience with its story. Like Sonic 1, 2, and 3, they didn't have much of a story, to be sure. Although Sonic 3 kind of had a bit of a story with its visual storytelling. And none of it felt like, juvenile. It felt inclusive. It didn't feel like it was dark or edgy.
yeah.
But it felt like, I could go back to it as an adult and not feel silly, playing it.
And but you know why that is, don't you? Because
They didn't have
there
the
was
means.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and
I
then-
mean, they didn't have. There was no script. There's no voice actors in the originals. See,
But
this
that-
is the thing. Like the cool thing is we can often sit here and go, "Oh, I wonder what it will be like if they didn't do this, that, and the other." And the direct comparison we have, and a formula that is working in that same regard that we hope, is the Mario series, because Mario doesn't have voice acting or like in most games. I know there are exceptions, but the ones that don't and were really successful, like let's look at the Galaxy games, for instance. They
good
don't
games.
have cutscenes necessarily.
Well, they did
There's
have that
no
extra storyline.
What was that one?
That was like the
The
storybook
storybook.
sequence.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
was
yeah, but
really
that's-
good, though.
I was
That
gonna
was
say-
But
Yeah.
exactly, but that never felt like juvenile.
Right, and
Really.
I'm
No,
just
because
gonna-
the
I'm
game
just
isn't
gonna-
designed to be juvenile.
I'm gonna add to
Yeah.
that and say that one time they did try, which was Super Mario Sunshine, it felt ridiculous and very pandering to small children. It's just like
Exactly.
it's like, that's my mama over there. Your mama? And I'm like, oh god, please stop. He's
So
like,
what we need.
hey son, Princess Peach is not your mama. I'm like, I know, Dad. And I'm like, oh no. And then Nintendo knew this, and they were like, we're never doing this again. And that's
Yeah,
why
and they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you'll
that's
learn
what,
from your mistakes.
and
Not
I
think,
feel-
the audience need to change.
Right, and Nintendo gets it. That Nintendo understands that less is more in this particular case, and you just stand to have a wider audience if you don't write a story feeling like, okay, well, you know what, we want this to be accessible to kids, so let's write a story that's accessible to kids.
Yeah.
But you know what, they can still write but that's the thing though, is they could still write a story that is okay for kids, but still work.
Yeah,
for
it's
an
called
all
Pixar.
ages.
Be like Pixar.
Yes. But I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
they understand it. There's like
Yeah.
there's adult elements in it, but there's nothing there that would offend a child, and it wouldn't go over a child's head, I suppose.
Yeah, like
Go
there's a
on.
lot of things, a lot of companies that get it right. Nintendo, Pixar. That's two. There are companies that get it right,
So many.
but really, Sonic just doesn't get it right.
This,
And that's
I'll tell
why
you why. I'll tell you
I
why.
say they should change their audience. Not so much they should change it to be a darker story. I think they should change their audience from being kids to being everybody. And
No. This is the problem. They don't need to change their audience. Their audience changed. Like this is the difference between the Sonic and Mario series. Okay, I know this is kind of off topic, but it's sort of on topic at the same time. Mario kind of had that wobble with Sunshine and the voice acting and stuff, and then they just returned back to formula, and they just kept it like, this is a game for everyone. There's no strict story. It's a start, middle, and an end kind of thing. Or it's not even that. It's a start, and then at the end you rescue Princess Peach. That's it. The Sonic series has always included stories with voice acting, and we've recognized them to be feeling a bit kind of childish and juvenile. The thing is, the reason they feel like that is because Sonic is not the same character as Mario. I know that sounds really obvious, but people don't really care about Sonic in the same way they do Mario. Sonic doesn't have that kind of appeal. Sonic is a 90s character with all that attitude and stuff that made him successful, and we appreciate that as, like, I don't know, 5-year-olds, 10-year-olds. We love that in the 90s. This is not the 90s anymore. You know, I am now a 32-year-old man, and I'd love to say, look, I still love Sonic the Hedgehog, but the reason is they've kept that character juvenile. I love Mario in the same way I did 20 years ago because they've kept the character the same. Sonic has always bent and changed with the times, and what I'd love them to just do away with is the kind of recognize that the Sonic fan base, for the most part, has grown up. They are in their 30s now. They want to enjoy a Sonic game, but damn, if we have to listen to that voice acting and those bad scripts and just feeling like, ugh, I'd rather this just wasn't a part of it.
Yeah.
No.
This is the thing. Like,
Yeah.
the audience Sega doesn't need to change its audience. They need to realize that its audience has changed.
No, I completely agree with that. I completely agree. That's
Yeah.
That's kind of what I meant to say by change their audience, is the fact of change it to include who their actual demographic is.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I meant by that. But to bring it full circle, Shadow the Hedgehog was their attempt. And the attempt failed so miserably, not by our fault, that's their fault. They basically set it up for failure with the amount of problems with that game. But the fact is, that was their attempt. And I even read online when I was reading the development that the game, despite selling so well, it actually sold super well. It was so critically panned that they were like, we're not doing this again.
Yeah.
So I feel like had Shadow the Hedgehog been a good game that sold well and got good reviews, they would have been, maybe nowadays we'd have that more adult kind of storyline to it. More not so juvenile. Maybe. In an alternate reality.
I'm gonna wrap my side of things on. This is my closing statement on the game. I completely agree with what you said there, but the problem with this trying a new flavor of story is I didn't experience the story because the gameplay let it down. I didn't want to go through. I was like playing through that neutral campaign. I was like, I don't want to do this again to find out what the rest of this is. I'm kind of done. If you're gonna try those crazy stories and make that your selling point, please make the gameplay worth my time and fun, that I'm like, wow, this is an experience in just this story. I wonder what the rest of it holds. You know, I didn't get that feeling and I was just done. So I liked the game. There were certain aspects of it I liked, but it just wasn't. I just couldn't be bothered. That's it. I just couldn't be bothered to play through the rest of it.
You sound so conflicted. You're like, I really want to love it. But
I did. I wanted to want to play those other stories, but the gameplay for me just let it down. It's probably a game that, hearing you say like, oh, you got to do this thing in this level, and I didn't see any of that. Maybe I will revisit it, but my closing statement is there's some elements that could really be polished, and it could be a great game, but at the end, it just wasn't there for me. So, yeah. 4 out of 10.
That's literally what IGN gave it. Wow.
Yeah.
Should we start giving scores out at the end of our things?
I don't know. I just thought I have to wrap this up somehow and just.
I feel like
I am conflicted, but if I give it a score, I feel at least the audience can gauge.
I feel
where I'm
like
at.
it's funny how this conversation on Shadow the Hedgehog is so different than any of our other podcasts. Because we all feel so. It feels like we're so deeply rooted in this that we're just like, it hurts.
We're all invested.
It does. Yeah, I'm invested in Sonic as a character. He's one of the first video game characters that I took to, and I know that we're not talking about Sonic the Hedgehog necessarily, but this is a spin-off of that, and in them trying to try something new, they failed because they held on to the Sonicness of the series. And I reckon they should have just leant right into being dark and being edgy, actually being edgy, and not just like, huh, we're still Sonic, but hey, he's got a gun now.
Edginess.
Yeah, exactly. It's what they think the kids and the adults want, but it's two different things.
She says, I want to hear your final thoughts on this.
It's funny because leading up to this game, I've heard the infamy of it, just as you guys did, about like, oh, Shadow the Hedgehog with guns, never do that again. But like, I was prepared for. I was like, dude, I am totally up for this campy Sonic the Hedgehog game with guns, and just see how far the camp goes. And it didn't even fully deliver on that. It was kind of like it started off really strong with the menu noises. Like I already mentioned that earlier in the podcast, but that was like a good sign.
Part of the game.
I was like, all right, this is exactly what I'm looking for. But then once I got the game started, the guns quickly became the background noise to what we're actually playing here. And what we're actually playing here is kind of like a messy Sonic the Hedgehog game with a new gameplay element that doesn't mesh well with the platforming and just the pacing and the characters and the story. It like none of it thematically matches up with what is sold on the front of the box, which is a swearing hedgehog with guns. That's what I wanted.
You wanted to be Conker.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Yes and no. I don't want like crude jokes like Conker does, but like the front of the box kind of gave me an idea of what I was supposed to expect, and I guess it just didn't meet my expectations. And so with that said, it just didn't even live up to me like in a campy sort of way.
Huh.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say, when I play a video game, especially something that's like new and quote unquote fresh kind of gameplay and stuff, I like to see it as what I expected it to be. Because I have a lot of expectations going into Shadow the Hedgehog, a lot. And it didn't live up to any of them, not one. But I saw the potential. This game has an unbelievable amount of potential. Something that I would love to see, and maybe it's just because I want that darker Sonic kind of adultish game. That's what I want. And it didn't even deliver on that. It didn't deliver on anything. But I still love it for the fact, I guess I should say, I don't love the game because of the gameplay and the game and playing it. I love the game because I saw what it could be. And it wasn't that. But if they could just work it more, if they could just do it now. I was hoping Sonic Forces was going to kind of be the same thing. You remember seeing those early images where it was like super dystopian world and everything's exploded and dead, and I'm like, holy crap, it's finally happening. Something that'll actually be cool. And then all of a sudden, this freaking mascot character.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I look at that. I look at every
And the
Sonic
song, too.
trailer, and I'm like, cool, looks good. Where's the gimmick? Here's the gimmick. Here it comes. Bang! There it
Hits you
is.
right in
There's
the
always a
face.
gimmick, and I always hate the gimmick, and that's what kills it dead. That's when you enter the Sonic cycle. You guys, do you know the Sonic cycle where it's like they announce a game, you get hyped for it, you're like, cool. Then they start releasing new details. They're like, okay, and then more details. It's like, right, you're losing me. More details. Here's the game. Lost me. Gone. Done. Sorry. You had a great idea, and then you just.
You know,
Just-
I just want to add one last thing before we wrap up this podcast, and it's going to be off topic, but it's Sonic the Hedgehog, so I just want to say it now. The Sonic Generations, fantastic game. This isn't what the discussion's for, but there's just one thing that's always bugged me, and it plays into the story element of Sonic. Like, they didn't make classic Sonic speak, and that's fine, but they still managed to mess him up in my mind because like he's like too happy-go-lucky looking all the time. And if you look at him in the original games and on the original box arts and everything, he always has this like angry furrowed brow, and he smiles with it, but he looks edgy all the time. You know, he's like, you know, hey, you know, like what up, that kind of deal. But like, in Sonic Generations, he's like, hello, haha, You know, kind of like Mickey
He's
Mouse.
Mickey
looking.
Mouse.
Yeah,
Mickey
he's-
Mouse.
They Mickey Mouseified him. I'm like,
Yeah.
no. Anyways, that's all. No reason,
something-
no rhyme or reason to add that into this conversation, but I just wanted to say it. It's always
the
bugged
Sonic
me.
formula? What is the freaking Sonic formula?
I don't
Pepsi
know,
just-
but they need to figure it out. They really need to.
They had something good, and they've always
They-
had something good. But
They take a game
just-
cartridge and they pour Pepsi Cola into it.
Yeah.
Sonic is
just
the
keep
Pepsi to Nintendo's Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
I feel like
It's not even that. It's we should just do a whole podcast on why Sonic is failing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Why-
This
why
whole
that's
podcast
great.
has spiraled down into just.
If you guys want to
why?
watch that, then leave a comment. in it,
Yes,
'cause I'll
we
be-
can
I'll
do
be
like a
happy to do that.
scientific study on the effects and reasons why Sonic is just not good at.
No!
Yeah.
All right, do not say that because we are not IGN. We don't all hate Sonic the Hedgehog.
No. Okay.
Sonic is a great character, and there are elements of greatness in every game that he has. They just need to stop doing with the gimmicks. Take the gimmicks away. I just wanted a blue hedgehog running around collecting rings. I want Sonic Mania, but I want it in 3D with a slightly more game. I want Sonic Colors. Sonic Colors was a good one, right? You guys like that one,
Sonic
right?
Colors,
That's a
Sonic
good one.
Generations, Sonic Lost World. I like
Sonic and the Black Knight.
Sonic
Sonic
Colors.
and the Black
It was a
Knight.
good
You remember
game.
that one?
No, that's not.
That was the one where Sonic was a freaking knight with a sword.
I know what it. Just let's not talk about.
That's what I'm saying, guy.
Let's not go there.
Okay, we're gonna get
need to
way
wrap
off
it up.
topic. We
right.
need to wrap it up.
We've gone on way longer than we would usually. So there we go, guys. That was Shadow the Hedgehog. If you have played this game, I know a lot of you have. If you haven't, I would still recommend playing it because I don't think you
Yeah.
can have. I've never really stepped into the Shadow is a bad character arena. Shadow the Hedgehog is a bad game arena. Simply because I'd never played it. Now I have. I feel like I have a stepping stone on that. I would recommend going and playing it before you trash all over it, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Let us know
saying.
your thoughts in
We
the
seem very depressed.
Yeah.
Ending
it's
this
just because
video
I
is-
expected more, I guess, and I don't know why.
We're all so depressed.
Yeah. We're
Thanks,
happy,
guys,
really.
for watching.
I love you.
Don't forget to click the Twitters.
Oh, hold on. What game are we going to be playing next
Oh,
week?
right.
That's good. That's a good one.
Oh,
Easy
right.
giving.
What are we doing? I forgot.
It's a good one. Shall I say?
Oh,
Yes.
that's right. I remember. We're happy again. Say it, man. Say it.
Super Mario RPG.
Whoa! All right.
That's the Mario game where he has a rocket launcher because it's RPG.
Oh,
See what I did?
it's just Mario. That's what happens when you press the start button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still my favorite part of the game. All right, guys. Anyways, that was the episode for Shadow the Hedgehog. If you want to follow us outside of Game Club Podcast, you can follow our Twitter handles. It's going to be on the screen right now. If you followed one of us, if you came from one of our other channels and you are being introduced to someone else for the first time, we also have our individual channels in the video description down below. So feel free to check that out. You can also
don't
listen
forget
to
the
us
end card.
on iTunes and Google Play. And
SoundCloud.
SoundCloud.
Yeah,
So,
you can't forget the SoundCloud. Come on now.
So if you stuck by us, thank you for listening, and we'll take off now. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, bye. Hey, bye.
Later, guys.
Bye.